As we've all expected, since the U.S. has decided to cut all food aid to North Korea, they've decided, and the global community decided to go ahead and just continue to be complete and utter a-holes to them. Now, news reports coming out of South Korea, what they call unconfirmed reports, say that North Korea is preparing to conduct a third underground nuclear test. Well, seeing as how they've already suffered the punishment for having a nuclear test, even though they hadn't actually done it, if this is true, then they've gone ahead and do it anyway, because if you're going to punish them for doing something they haven't done yet, then they might as well go ahead and do it. Now, this is all over the rocket launch that will be sending the DBRK satellite into orbit, which they are claiming is a cover for a ballistic missile test, which has absolutely no backing whatsoever. Foreign media and international inspectors have been allowed in to look at the facility and look at the rocket itself, but none of that really matters, because just say North Korea is launching a ballistic missile and everybody will automatically believe it. Now, these unconfirmed reports are saying that they're digging tunnels, digging a tunnel to conduct an underground nuclear test in the same way that they did in 2006 and 2009. Again, still based on almost nothing. Now, on Sunday, an anonymous source from South Korea intelligence says that they have photos of big mounds of dirt that are an indication that North Korea is digging a tunnel. Now, these photos haven't been released to us, but I assume a satellite photo of a giant pile of dirt is very, very convincing. Now, the opposition to the Conservative Party in South Korea has become skeptical of the timing of the release of this information. North Korea has been hinting at a possible nuclear test for a month. We wonder why the National Intelligence Service was highlighting this to the people in the news media now, only 3 days before the election. This is a valid question, and one that to me is rather obvious. The same reason that every other conservative party tends to release public scaring information right before an election, to scare the public into thinking that they're the only ones tough enough to deal with the threat. Now, the conservative government under Lee Myung-bak has always had a tremendously and overly aggressive stance towards North Korea, including the sinking of the Cheonan, which investigators say had actually sunk because it had hit an old Soviet mine from the Korean War. And they decided that that was an accident, left it at that. Then the conservative gets elected, and then a month later it's North Korea attacked it. All of a sudden it's just completely changed under a new government that was looking to provoke North Korea. Oh, and by the way, that really speaks to the quality of Soviet-made merchandise. 50 years in water, and the mine's still good. That's actually pretty good quality. But this is very reminiscent. It's reminiscent, and it's a very old conservative tactic. Remember right before the election in 2004 when George Bush won his second term, where a few days before the election they released a bin Laden tape, or what were presented as having been bin Laden, threatening America right before the election. In fact, I think this is exactly the exact same tactic. And conservatives tend to be pretty much the same all across the board. Fear-mongering in lieu of any ideas or, platform. Now, this scaremongering, a lot like all conservative scaremongering, is not always based on fact. In fact, we don't have any actual real evidence that North Korea is even conducting an underground nuclear test. I, for one, hope they actually are. I really do hope they actually are testing nuclear explosions underground. But we don't have any real evidence of that. Kim Jong-un, I hope you are doing it, because your country has the right to do it. But to South Korea and the rest of the international community, if you're going to make a claim, back it up. We've already been anonymously told that there's piles of dirt, which are the leading threat to national security. Could we have those photos? I mean, we already know about them. So I would ask that the South Korean intelligence release those photos. I'd like to see these deadly, dangerous piles of dirt.